Do you know, there was once a king whose own rule became one of the darkest chapters in ancient history? His name was Manasseh, king of the ancient nation of Judah. The year is around 687 BCE. Assyria dominates the Near East, and Judah is a small vassal kingdom struggling to survive. Into this world steps a 12-year-old boy who unexpectedly becomes king. Manasseh's reign would last 55 years, the longest rule of any king in Judah's history. But instead of stability, his rule would plunge the nation into turmoil, violence, and fear. As he grew older, Manasseh aligned his kingdom with the powerful Assyrian Empire. He adopted their customs, their rituals, and their gods. Shrines and altars to foreign deities began to rise across Judah's cities, replacing the traditions his father once preserved. According to historical records found in the Bible, Manasseh filled Jerusalem with altars to the sun, moon, and stars. He placed foreign idols inside the royal court, and even within the sacred temple itself. But the darkest part of his rule wasn't the idols. It was the violence. Ancient writings record that Manasseh shed very much innocent blood, from one end of Jerusalem to the other. Political opponents disappeared. Voices that resisted Assyrian influence were silenced. Fear spread through the streets and markets of Jerusalem. The kingdom that once stood strong began to fracture under oppression. But power never protects anyone forever. Sometime during his later years, Manasseh's world collapsed. Assyrian forces captured him, placed a hook in his nose, and dragged him in chains to Babylon, a humiliation reserved for rebellious vassals. The mighty king who once ruled for decades now sat in a foreign prison, powerless and alone. And there, in captivity, something changed. Ancient accounts say that Manasseh cried out in desperation, and when he was eventually released and restored to his throne, he returned a different man. Back in Jerusalem, the king began undoing the very things he once built. Altars were torn down. Foreign idols removed. Local traditions restored. After years of destruction and bloodshed, Manasseh finally tried to repair the kingdom he had nearly destroyed. But some damage can never be erased. Even after his death around 642 BCE, the legacy of his 55-year rule lingered. Historians believe that the instability created during his reign weakened Judah for generations, setting the stage for the nation's later downfall. Manasseh, a king who reigned longer than any before him, yet is remembered not for strength, not for leadership, not for peace, but for the chaos his own hands created. A ruler whose story survives today in ancient records and in the pages of the Bible as a warning carved into history.